All right, going back to our Region 11 football preview, we get to now Bear River, a team that finished 5-6 last year and now looks to rebound, and a team that could be very dangerous with some new additions and a couple of kids that people haven't heard about. And again, Coach Weiss at the helm here, and you know that Coach Weiss is going to have his team ready to go for the 2021 football season. Coach, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Hey, Coach, let's start here. Last year, kind of a rough ending to the season. You guys do beat Green Canyon in a thriller and then lose to a really, really good Pine View team. Now, going back into this year, what are some of the things that you feel like you have improved immensely on getting ready for the season opener next Friday night?
Well, we've got some seniors that are coming back in with a lot of great starting experience. There's Kason Byrne, who is coming back as a starting middle linebacker that runs our defense, basically. Jared Lish is my defensive coordinator, has really kind of turned things over to Kason to be the field general out there. And so that's going to help so much. And, we're looking, we have Garrison Marble back, and he was a very good weapon for us. If you recall, last year versus Ridgeline, he was the one that we barely missed the touchdown by an inch to go ahead or at least tie Ridgeline at the end of that ball game at our place, and he was well, as a hometown coach and the guy watching down the sideline, I'm going to tell you that he was in, but the fates weren't with us at that time. But
yeah, that's fair enough.
We got some great leadership at that senior level. We don't have numbers, but we have great leadership, and that's huge.
Well, you mentioned that the numbers of the seniors. You've got a young team this year, and so I guess just how has this summer gone so far in getting the right people in the right places? Sometimes you think you've got somebody, and then you have to switch a position and move them around, maybe from offense and just focus on defense, or vice versa. But how do you feel about how that progress is happening, and are you to where you want to be just yet with about a week to go before your season opener?
Yeah, I'm so pleased with what the boys have done. We've improved by leaps and bounds. I really like where we are. I feel good about going into the first ball game with what we have. As far as defensively and offensively, we've got to spend a little more time special teams wise than we have. But that's stuff that I'm sure we will get done in the next week and a half. And the trick for Bear River is always staying healthy. If we can stay healthy, I'll put our guys up against anybody. And I think that we've got a new strength and conditioning coach in Dave Putnam that's really done an outstanding job of getting these guys physically ready for this season, and hopefully we can keep everybody healthy, not just for the sake of winning ball games, but just for the sake of the kids.
Well, and Coach, you've got another factor that I don't know if a lot of people know about. That's kind of it is a challenge that you have to face. It's not an excuse, but it is a reality that your football field's not ready quite yet. You got to spend a lot of time on the road for the start of the season, and you guys got to be road warriors to get things going.
Yeah, 100%. We won't have a home game until September, mid-September, really, because of the way things shook out with our region. And so I told the boys, I says, if you wanted another challenge, here it is. But let's not, it doesn't matter what you wear or who you play or when you play. Let's focus on us and focus on make sure that we're getting better. And I think they really have done that. I mean, it would be very easy to slip into the poor me mindset, and I found myself doing it a little bit with some of the senior parents and saying, hey, we keep kicking these seniors in the gut a little bit with some of these challenges, but they've always risen, and I think that they understand that they can't do anything about the powers that be, and they can't do anything about the situation, and let's just go out and control what we can control, which has been a real mantra of ours here at Bear River. As much as we have to kind of go with the flow with numbers and with injuries and with things like this field. This will be the third time in I'll bet 6 years that the district has kind of put us behind the eight ball this way, but when it's all said and done, it's going to be a great field. It's going to be something that we can be very proud of. and I think that the seniors are excited to be the first ones to play on it.
Hey, Coach, your identity last year was pretty clear cut and dry in regards of Bucket Jones, who rushed for over 1,000 yards on nearly 200 carries. How do you establish an identity without him this year, and what is your offensive identity going to be, especially when you don't have Josh Payne as well behind the center? What are we going to see offensively?
Well, as you're well aware, and you kind of just pointed it out, we have to adapt. We really do. Whenever anybody asks me what our offense is, I just say it's a multiple option offense, which covers all our bases. And it's really kind of it's got to be that bottom line is, and it's no secret, I've got to find a way to get Garrison Marble the ball. Riker Jepson really kind of gave Josh Payne a run for his money at the quarterback spot and pushed Josh to become the great quarterback that he was. And so I'm looking forward to Riker Jepson stepping into that spot and really excelling there. And he's getting pushed again by a sophomore behind him, so in Owen Olsen. So, we're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to find various and many different ways to get Garrison Marble the ball, but at the same time, run counters and play actions and all those other things that when teams start adjusting over to Garrison, which I think they'll start out doing that because we have very smart coaches and they understand what we have to do at Bear River to be successful, and so we got to take advantage of them overplaying Garrison at times as well. So that's kind of what we're going to look like offensively. Is I know that was coach speak, and that was a lot of. But maybe that's because I'm not 100% sure how we're going to do it.
No, that's fair enough. Defensively, I think we can under your direction, as long as you've been at Bear River, there have always been stout, physical defenses.
Amen to that.
I mean, you've always preached and been able to execute great defensive schemes and get the most out of your team defensively. Is this year going to be any different? And what do you see out of your defense coming into the season?
No, it's I've got a defense coordinator in Jared Lish and that's rule number one for us. That's item number one for us is that our plan to win, and you've seen that around. But our plan to win is play great defense, and it's a great compliment to both. Jared Lish and I played in high school together, and he's a great compliment to me, my offensive mindset, and I'm hopefully the same for him defensively. He asked him what the role of the defense is, and that's give the ball back to the offense. And you asked me what the role of the offense is don't put the defense in a bad spot. And I think between the two of us, it's all his plan. I've really kind of I'm the LaBelle Edwards kind of head coach in regards to the defense. So even though they're my teams, and I'll take whatever credit you want to throw my way defensively, it's been the defensive coordinators that I've enjoyed. We've had three here in my tenure, and they've all been great. But Jared's come on, and he has a great plan, and it's going to be the same. What we do defensively is. Really, he does a great job in the film study. He does a great job in understanding what other teams are trying to do. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I was talking to Ridgeline's offensive coordinator, Coach Livingston, and he said that that's the toughest defense that he deals with the entire year is our defense over here. And I'm so happy to have you guys mention that because that's part of our identity is being tough, tough, hard-nosed, kids and a team that way. And so I think you're going to be pleasantly, consistently pleased with what we do defensively.
We talk about being mentally tough, and as we already mentioned, you're going to have to be without. Your schedule is pretty good for your non-region play. You're at Morgan, at Clearfield. You got Madison, Idaho on the road as well, and then of course the Golden Spike rivalry continues when you go to Box Elder, just over the mountain to face the Box Elder Bees. Talk about putting your schedule together. Are you a fan of the RPI? Do you like it? Do you hate it? And how do you adjust your schedule to the RPI?
I think it's good. In fact, it's what I don't, especially the way that they've started. The only bad thing that I see is that coaches now think that the region games don't matter. Like the region schedule, like region championships don't matter because they don't have anything to do with placement. But I think that's a cop out. I mean, if you're not getting your kids up for a region game, then that's on you as a coach. And I'd be more than happy. Trust me, I'd be more than happy to call myself region champ, whether it meant we were in a different spot in the playoffs or not. What I do like about the RPI is I like the fact that we're taking the best, and maybe I put too much stock in the algorithm, but it's putting the best teams in the best spots to win. And you look last year. I mean, I would argue with anybody that says that the best two teams in 4A football weren't Pineview and Skyview. I played them both, and they were the two best teams, bar none. And so that's what you get with the RPI. So I do like it. As far as me scheduling that way, I don't know that with the handicap that they give you, because they used to say if you beat a team that had the bigger RPI, then it was worth such and such amount. Now they've really reduced that. The smartest coaches, and this will show how dumb I am, but the smartest coaches are the coaches that get teams, that play teams that are as close to their ability as they can. That's the smartest way to schedule for RPI. Now you look at my schedule, and I think it's a little bit with I don't know, maybe I'm too optimistic, but I like to play competition that's going to push us, and I don't like to play down, because I do think that teenagers will play to the level of the team that they play. Now, that's a fine balance, because you can't schedule a team that's going to just dominate your kids, because that'll put them in the doldrums, right? So it's a balancing game.
And then, Coach, I got to ask, can you give us a dance through Region 11 through your opinion? I know there's some people who kind of bash on Region 11, and there's only two regions in the 4A class, one in Southern Utah and one in Northern Utah. But give us your thoughts on Region 11 as a whole from your coaching perspective, please.
I think that, in the 20 years, this will be my 20th season, if you can't argue for the fact that Dixie's been a power, that Pineview's been a power, that Desert Hills has been a power, you have these also-rans, and Hurricane used to be right there. Snow Canyon used to be right there, and for whatever reason, they've kind of fallen off and whatnot. I wouldn't want to be Crimson Cliffs right now, because coming into that region as the youngster, as the new guy, you've got a lot of tradition to battle against. In the 3 state championships that we played, one of them was in we played Grantsville when they were part of 4A or 3A. But then the other two were Pineview and Snow Canyon. I mean, they're always going to put a team that is competitive into that game. And so, I mean, I love what we have up here. I think that we've got the best, and again, like I said, I may be unrealistic, but I feel like our region up here north would compete very well with a 5A region.
Wow.
And I think I could say the same. Now, top to bottom, there's a huge disparity, but I think the best teams in our region could beat and play the best teams in some 5A regions. I really do. And I think the same could be said for Region 9.
That's a heck of a point.
Yeah, there's some great programs up here, and they've had a lot of success, that's for sure. And your teams have had success as well. You've been to that championship game a couple different times.
Yeah.
And Coach, last thing from me, we maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but for our listeners who don't know, there's going to be a little bit of a change in how we broadcast the Bear River games this year, and we're going to have a new play-by-play voice, and it's a name that some people will probably recognize. That's Rod Zundel. He's retired from KSL, and he needs something to do, and he's going to come call games for the Bear River Bears. Were you aware of that, and what do you know of Rod?
I had heard that. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Rod is a good friend of mine. Being from this area, I've coached all of his nephews, and the Zundels in this valley they're gold. They are golden people, and I'm very excited to have Rod there. And you know what? I'm very excited to have a cheerleader for Bear River, because these kids deserve that. They really do. And not that he's going to be unrealistic or anything like that, but I think he'll be right there level with some of the best in the state as far as calling ball games. And I'm excited for that.
I know this might be a biased question to ask you, but are the Zundels the best athletes to come out of Tremonton?
Oh, that'd be, you know what? It would be hard to argue that Jason Zundel wasn't one of the best that ever came out of this valley.
Wow.
He's one of the best athletes. The only Mr. Football to not go on and play college football, because he went on and played college baseball smartly, because he can still walk around and move. So, but the only Mr. Football that chose baseball over football as a post high school career. But but we've got great families here for sure.
Absolutely.
But you know what I'm finding, and what I really love to see is, I love to see we're starting to get some growth over here. I love to see the new names that are coming out and making names for themselves. But, when you talk about Bear River Valley, you're talking about the Franks, the Zundels, you're talking about, the Schofields, the Robinses, you're talking about, all of these different, and it's the same everywhere, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
get certain families that produce the athletes a little bit, but I love to see the new kids come out and shock the world.
Their season opens up on August 13th at Morgan. There they continue a long road trip through mid-September until their field is ready to go. Coach Wise, we greatly appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you guys in action next Friday night. Best wishes. Stay healthy.
Thank you, boys. I really appreciate what you do in publicizing these young men, because they are every bit worth the effort. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.